This is in my right of my award. Army Commendation Medal.
Pretty impressive. And that article is about you?
Yeah.
Your daughter told me some of that story.
Yeah, this is it right here. Here's one of them. In fact, I got some old stuff laying over there. Excuse me.
Swims River, saves Bridge.
That's where I got the Silver Star. When she was younger. That's her two brothers.
Gotta be crazy.
The high wire acting. Their parents had a business traveling around. They were performing local theater. It was something. Can you see? Oh yeah. And then in Europe, when I was in Europe after the war, I used to make these Western photos. I was the first one in Germany to do that. This is some of the stuff that we put out. This is in German, in the city of Kassel. Said Tony makes reality from every Western Western scene. That's me over here. We made a real nice deal out of it. Just when we worked with the Kentucky State Fair, we worked all over the country.
Western outfit?
Yeah, well, no, with the Motorcycle Act.
Oh, okay.
They ran up the tower, and these were the ones who were playing at that time, Festus and some other ones. Here they are.
High wire acrobats.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things that
Pretty interesting life.
That's from Hollywood. When I was over in 52 to 55. That picture you see over there, this is the one right here.
Oh yeah.
Company E. Yeah, I'm still over here. Here I am. The Colonel, Puccio, and that's myself, and then the Captain, Air Force. And that was a nice time over there in Orleans.
Oh, I bet.
This was me in 1940 when I had hair.
Good looking guy.
Yeah, sometimes.
That's when you signed up, huh?
Yeah. Went there. It's out. Just run it out.
If you say something.
Watch, I'll turn it off. World War II also, my oldest brother, this is when he was 80. He passed away then. But he was a prisoner of war in Germany for 26 months.
Wow.
Got captured in North Africa. And he came back to while he was in Germany, I had my youngest brother was in the Merchant Marine on that Murmansk run going to Russia with the ships. They got the hell knocked out of them there.
Oh man.
And then my other brother was going into France, the one 2 years older than I. And I was in Italy coming up from the southern route.
So there were 4 of you?
4 of us, yeah.
Oh wow.
And we all survived.
Did you know he was MIA probably, huh?
Yeah. This is a strange story about him. He was drafted, sent to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and he was put in that 1st Armored Division. And his wife had a child, so they let him go home for a couple of days, and he didn't report back.
Oh wow!
So they reported him as AWOL.
Yeah. And
the FBI got into it. So they were still on record. They had him reported as AWOL, and here he is a prisoner of war in Germany. He reported back to his unit later, but they never notified the FBI on it.
Oh wow!
But that was my oldest brother. But then this is a little picture of me holding one of those swastika things from the German Bond.
That was after the war was over?
Yeah.
Looks like you could do some
No,
pretty
wait,
good
this wasn't after. This was during the war. This was in Italy from the German train. They were running through. Of course, this is something when after the war ended, being a smart little guy. Now, this is a picture of my parents. That's my mom and dad. They came. Slovenia.
Oh, okay.
But was part of the Austria-Hungary Empire under Franz Joseph. His dad was the captain of the guards there at the palace in Vienna.
Wow.
And then he went into the guards deal too, but it got too rough for him. So he went on tour and he became a carpenter and cabinet maker. And that they came to the States. They met here in the States, both of them.
So you could have had some cousins on the other side of that war.
Yes. And then his father, well, he was in the States here. The father was murdered in a barroom brawl.
Oh, man.
They had Serbs and all kind of people in that that were in the empire. And somebody caught him outside and they just sliced his gut out.
Ugh.
But that's how turbulent they were in Europe.
Yeah.
This is the place in Italy, German 88s they're supposed to be anti-aircraft, but they use them for artillery also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And by that house, I kept it.
Didn't feel like putting in for a Purple Heart for that, huh?
No. When you're young, I was full of, you know what. That's Fort Clayton in the Canal Zone in Panama.
Oh, wow.
Both two little recruits in Panama, too.
Let's see. What'd you play, first base?
No, I played outfield. I played Class A ball in Cleveland before I went to the Army, yeah.
All right.
Now, this one here, Paranam River in Dutch Guiana.
Uh-huh.
The Germans sabotaged it. Not sabotaged, they scuttled it. Because they were penned in by British and American submarines. They couldn't get out, so they scuttled the deal. And that was a Dutch possession, so you know they were allies.
Yeah.
And I was stationed over there for about... And then we went to... from there we went to Trinidad. We were security guards for the air base there. It was Waller Field? I forget the name now. About Trinidad, Dutch Guiana.
All right.
And, this is my little... one of my oldest daughter. So that's all from Europe, these old pictures.
Is that you?
No, that's... this person here must be about my age now or older.
It's a cousin or something?
Yeah, I don't even know who it is. I know who these are, but I don't know that one.
Boy, your dad and your uncles all have the same mustache, huh?
That's a European tradition. You grow up with a mustache.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got in on that, so you obviously...
You were catching, huh?
Yeah. That was not too bad.
Huh?
That's in Yugoslavia. Well, can you see that all right? I don't want to screw up things.
Yeah, I think he was getting a shot of your swing here.
Oh, well, I see.
You were, base hit. Oh,
And,
that's the high wire act, huh?
This is part of the going up toward the tower. We had a tower that could go 150 feet up.
So who's that?
That's my brother.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if this is my wife or no, it's the other brothers, two of them, Carl and John.
Huh.
And then we had a periscope tower here, which we had to use. We didn't use any mechanical work. We used it with a vehicle that was tied with pulleys going all the way up and then coming down and pull it with a pickup truck.
Wow.
And then that would raise this periscope all the way up. And then he would perform swaying on that thing.
You got more cojones than me, that's for sure.
And then this is part of my photo stuff again. I had some real characters. I had a bunch of Wild West stuff.
Cowboys in German. That's fun.
And what you saw over there, that article, this is from the 85th Infantry Division.
That's the original, huh?
Yeah. And that was when? May 8, 45.
Yeah. The E-Day.
And this is the deal that I got my Silver Star on. Swins River.
We're going to have to talk more about that.
Okay. Is that steady enough for you?
He can.
And I was working with them, and we had an article where, when I returned from Hollywood, I was working on the Stuttgart Post News also on there as a reporter. There's their name on there.
You got your byline there? Yep. Sergeant Anthony J. August.
And I met a lot of people. I interviewed Max Schmeling when he was over there in Schwäbische Gmund by Stuttgart. And then we had a nice deal with...
you didn't challenge?
Here, Pell Unit.
Right, yeah.
This is my brother walking up a wire, the motorcycle act. This is in Louisville, Kentucky.
Huh.
It's, when the hell was that? I can't even see the date.
Oh, yeah?
Remember they had that book written, The Devil's Admiral?
Yeah.
I didn't interview him, but I stopped in Hamburg. We were playing with our stuff there. Huh. And I saw him. He was all old and gone already, but he was bitter about the Allies.
Oh,
all the U-boats.
I know. Yeah. Wow.
But a real nice man, perfect,
That's a real history.
perfect English.
Huh.
And
I've
it's too
heard
bad. And,
death-defying.
but yeah, there's little things here. Here's Heinz Guderian.
Mm-hmm.
He was a good general. He was the one that made that French campaign and got it in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
National line.
Yeah, he surprised everybody at the Bulge too.
Look at the headlines on this one. Daytona Beach, Florida. 40 hits with 35 miles of Paris.
Did that include you?
No. I was.
Oh, you were in Italy.
Yeah, this was in Fort Clayton, Panama.
Huh. Maybe I'll have him get some close-ups of some of those. We're done talking.
Okay.
To the left, okay.
Aiming and sighting.
Uh-huh. Now over here, Silver Star looks like it's in pretty good.
Had all my medals were gone. And a friend of mine from Germany, he just sent me this about 6 months ago. All of the new Euros.
Huh. Oh, wow. That's something.
That's from all the countries that are with the EU.
That's shiny.
Yeah. It's something,
Impressive.
isn't it?
Yeah.
He saved it up and sent it to me.
Almost as shiny as that Silver Star.
Yeah.
Do you remember who pinned the Silver Star on you?
That's a funny thing. I never inquired about it. I left Italy before it was issued to me, and I came back to Cleveland.
Yeah.
I went to work for an advertising company, TM Reese Advertising. And then one day, lo and behold, comes a lieutenant. He asked for my name, and he had this little deal, a little box. These are compliments of the War Department.
Huh.
And he gave me that. And then in the letter it had, if I wanted to officially present Fort Campbell, Kentucky. They named 3 or 4 places. I said, no, forget it. I wasn't interested in that.
Yeah.
Outside of the combat deal, though. And these things I've had, these heads, faces,
Masks there, yeah.
they were replicas of people. These medals are German.
I thought so.
And
How did you,
see, these are all from the German U-boats, anti-aircraft, chemical warfare, and combat infantry. That's all of the German Reich, the Hitler era.
Right.
Then after the war, this is all Deutsche Demokratische Republik, the German Democratic Republic.
Huh.
These are all their awards. But they're made out of tin and everything else. They wouldn't spend good money. But these are substantial like ours, the German ones, the real German.
Do you know who they were given to, or they were just surplus or something?
No, they were picked up. A couple of them I had from the war, from Italy. I got a couple off the prison. I don't know which one it was. I think it was this one, and I don't know which one. I got 2. I had 2 of them from there.
Wow.
And I kept them because they could use them anywhere. They were prisoners.
And this is you right there, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, that's me right here. 41. Let's see, I was 21 years old when that was taken.
And often it's going to rock forward.
That's Company E, 33rd Infantry, Canal Zone, CZ. And about a mile and a half away from this post service in Hollywood. When I departed, everybody in the station signed their names to it. And it was a departing gift. I don't know which master this is. It's from a record, though.
Yeah. That gives a lot more shine than a Bronze Star, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it was nice. There was a lot of nice people there. They give the name of the period. It was 52 to 55.
That's what it says. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Huh, that's great.
And this I picked this up in Germany, Yugoslavia formerly.
Right.
And this is a church made out of straw.
Wow.
It's all made out of pieces of straw.
That's beautiful.
They got darker pieces and light, and they made the whole thing. That thing's about Napoleon's army.
What?
Yeah.
How'd you come across that?
I got that in France.
Yeah.
My wife's people were playing it. I don't know what town it is. And they had to hook up to a church. And they had the Burgermeister, or the mayor, I go through his attic place to get to the belfry of the church to go up. It was right next to it. And they went up there and they saw, pick what you want. So they picked them up. It's a real flip. It's got the markings, everything on it.
It's got a serial number on there.
Everything's on there. See it here? Here, hold it.
Oh.
Not to be outdone, I still got the bayonet for it. Look how they're made.
So how did you know right then it was from Napoleon's army, or did you figure that out later?
No, they told us.
They told you that, yeah?
This is the tamping rod, you know, where they put the powder in.
Right, that's right.
It's complete. I saw on, I think it was Channel 18. They have these auction deals.
Oh yeah, Antique Roadshow deal.
Yeah, that's the one. And they had one like this, and they put a tag of $20,000 on it. This is old. You can see the age on it. Look on this. I can't see too well with my eyesight now. So you have to look through there and see.
1839. Yeah. It's upside. It's that way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. 1839.
1839. Wow.
That's a real musket there.
You know, guys wanted to date your daughter, right?
Well,
you greet him at the door with this?
I don't know. I'd have to be 40 feet away to reach him. But I used to pick a lot of these things up. I liked older things.
Well, it's treasures. It's fantastic.
And over here, these things here, these are all from
the pictures over here?
My wife's side, the performers of her brothers. That's her dad. He passed away. That man there, they were in some village, I don't know what the name is now, Grossgotten stuck. They worked over there. They were stuck there, and they said, gave orders to dig trenches around the area to stop the tanks from coming. And they put the people working. The old man would always say, you think they're going to stop them? He said, they're going to go right through the houses. So they stopped working. And then the well, let's see. Yeah, no, it'd be 50. Yeah, that's right.
It's fabulous.
82.
All right, well, let's, I'm just going to shoot some questions at you.
All right.
You're growing up in Cleveland. Why did you decide to join the Army?
Because I just wanted to get away from Cleveland. I was young and I was adventuresome, and I wanted to get out, leave the city. First of all, in 1936, 4 years before that, I joined the 3 Cs, Civilian Conservation Corps, and I spent 6 months with them. That's when I had an appetite. They had orders that I was going to Fresno from Cleveland, yeah. Because prior to that, in 34, my oldest brother was in Fresno, working at the park here in the 3 Cs. So I looked at the order, oh, I'm going to Fresno, California. I thought, boy, it's great, I'm going to a faraway place. And it was Fresno, Ohio.
Oh, no.
60 miles away. That was a letdown. But those camps were made up like the military. Reservists were running them, the reserve officers.
Right.
And they had us in platoons, and we were work cadres, making post holes for fence and breaking rocks loose and cutting down trees. It was hard work, but it's good for a young person.
Sure.
That's when I really learned to work. Well, we come with blisters on our hands from them big bars, breaking rocks, and a lot of those farm places were almost all rock when you put in a post hole.
Toughened you up a little bit, huh?
Oh, yeah, it did.
So you were ready for the Army when that time came?
Well, I was in good shape. I played a lot of sports, baseball primarily.
Who was your favorite Cleveland Indian?
Oh, there was quite a few of them. I guess Bob Feller was the one, but I remember I saw Babe Ruth play and Lou Gehrig. I was young, 9 years old or something of that nature. And that one game, the Yankees were playing, and they had Babe Ruth warming up in the bullpen. I think the Yankees walked 14 batters that game. It was a slugfest. But it was a great deal. We used to get tickets during vacation periods when school was out. Free games. They let so many tickets out. I got all I could, and I used to run and watch the Indians play. Because 75 cents at that time was a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure. Why did you choose the Army as opposed to the Navy or the Marine Corps, or wanting to be a pilot or something like that?
Well, there were no openings for the Air Force or the Navy at that time, just the Army. And I wanted to go out as far as I could. I wanted to go to the Philippines. And the recruiter said, no opening in the Philippines. I said, how about Hawaii? No opening. He said, the only thing we have is Panama. And I said, I wanted to go into the infantry. He said, we got that opening. So they sent me to Fort Clayton in the Canal Zone. That's where I got my basic training. But I learned to be an expert shot on the first time at the range. I got high expert. I think I got 196 out of 200. You
think that was from your baseball hand-eye coordination, or what?
Well, it's just the training. We had good training on sight. You had to practice for weeks, or they had you on the ground going through the time periods. You had so many seconds to fire off 8 rounds, 6 rounds, 20 rounds. And I still remember that 500 yards, 7 out of 8 bullseyes, 500 yards with that Springfield rifle.
So then you couldn't wait to get out and actually shoot at something that you were supposed to shoot at, right?
Well, at my age, we were ready for it because you're unbeatable. And the morale with a bunch of young guys, each one wants to outdo the other.
Were you in Panama when Pearl Harbor happened?
No, I was in Dutch Guiana at that time. I went, we just left Trinidad. I told you we had an air base that we were guarding. That was under that Lend-Lease setup. I think Roosevelt gave 50 destroyers to the British, and they gave us control of Trinidad and all the areas around the Caribbean area. And also we had to patrol the area in Holland, or the Holland, let me get this straight, Dutch Guiana, their possession. I'm getting a little older, not too sharp anymore.
You seem pretty sharp to me.
But we got into that place, and that was I told you about the bauxite, aluminum ore.
Right.
We had to guard those deals. I showed that one ship that was sunken. That was that German freighter. And we stood over there and patrolled them things. And from there I went back. We flew back to the States and went to out of New Orleans. I forget the name of that place now where the Standard Oil had their docks, where oil. It's right outside of New Orleans. I forgot it. And I was at a bar over there, and I met Huey Long's niece. Her name was June Phelan. Young like us, and smiling and joking. I used to love to joke around. And we left that place, and I was never so stunned in my life, leaving New Orleans. We didn't have money. I didn't have money to get back. We had 3 months' pay coming. I couldn't get back to Cleveland. I was on my way to Fort Devens, Massachusetts, to join the 85th Infantry Division. And the Red Cross wouldn't give us any money there.
So what'd you do?
I had to get some from home. The Red Cross didn't have the money. It was disorganized at that time.
Yeah.
And I got home, and then I went to Devens, and then I got paid the money for en route. You know, we had our tickets and for food. And from there we went to Fort Dix. We had some further training there. Then we went to North Africa and into Italy.
Was that a long boat ride across the Atlantic?
Oh yeah, we were on. I think it was the Navy Transport MAN, M-A-N-N. And that thing, I got every boat I was on, I got seasick.
Oh really?
Just the swells, the ground swells from the port.
Yeah.
After we were in deep water, then it didn't matter. But that one place where we went from Trinidad to Dutch Guiana, we were on an army transport, the Chateau Thierry, from the French name, that town, and it was a flat-bottom boat. And we had a big storm over there. And that thing was going just rolling, rocking. Everybody was sick in there. Everybody. I mean, violently sick. The Navy men, everybody.
Wow.
And that made me swear off of seagoing.
I don't blame you. What'd you find when you got to North Africa?
Well,
you were hunting for Rommel or what?
No, we were hunting Arabs at that time. We pushed into Casablanca, and then we went to where the Foreign Legion, the French Foreign Legion, Sidi Bel Abbes, and then to Arzu, and then to Iran. And then we pulled back, and we made our landing in Italy.
What were you doing all that time? Were you
training? Landings and everything else. And then they assigned me to the combat engineers in the division, and they call them pioneers, taking defusing bombs and working with explosives. That's all we've done.
Did that seem like an exciting thing for you?
I liked it.
Seems like a lot of pressure.
I liked it because it was danger. When you're young, you don't care. Nothing can happen. And then when it came in from, when we got into Italy, it was removal of bombs. I'll bet I must have picked up 3,000 or 4,000 teller mines out of the ground, just pulled them out, and some were booby-trapped. The Germans set a booby trap underneath the mine. When you lift it up, it would explode. These teller mines had 11 pounds of TNT in them.
Now, how would you decide when and where to pull one of those up?
I didn't care. I just pulled them out. Nothing happened.
Knowing it could have killed you?
Yeah, you don't think about it. So just unscrew the cap, throw the cap away, and pull out the damn mine. So some people got killed, but not in our outfit.
You never got... You never pulled up a booby-trapped one? Or?
No. If I did, I wouldn't be here. Because it would go off.
So it sounds like you did a lot of that.
Yeah, that's all we were doing is pulling the mines out. And when the hell was that? May 11th? That was the Hitler line by Casino in San Pietro. We were between Monterno and San Pietro. And the offensive was to begin at 11 o'clock. And we were out there at 9 o'clock in the total darkness clearing a minefield so the infantry would go through it. Cut the wires and that, and we hit...
Just doing that all based on just eyeballing stuff?
Well, what they do, they have the end man on either side carries a reel of tape, white tape. And as everybody's going through, they're next to each other, probing. We were probing with bayonets. There were no mine detectors then.
Right.
And when you go through there, that line is the area. And then when the infantry pours through after the artillery barrage, they go between these lines. And once they pass through the area, that's it. There's no mines to
lines, that's telling the infantry this is clear.
So that place over there in Materno, we were probing, and something pushed my leg up in the air, and it was a German S-mine. They'd call them the bouncing betties, and that. There are two mines, two cups. One is inserted into the other, and they have 3 detonators underneath with black powder. So when you step on it, it throws a spark down, ignites the black powder, and in 1 second, or part of a second, that shoots underneath the TNT and it ignites the detonators. And that thing went up in the air. This buddy of mine, his name was Fred Young, he came in from New York with me all the way through the Warriors, the whole period. And we ended up on the same plane coming back to the States. I was discharged 4th of July from Camp Atterbury, Indiana, on the 4th of July, 45. They were still fighting Japan at the time.
He was there when you stepped on that mine?
Yeah, him and I. He was right next to me, and we ran through the minefield.
once it went off, you just took off running?
No, it didn't explode. It just shot up in the air, and it was smoking. And we saw that, and there's 350 steel balls in that thing. When it goes up in the air, it explodes, and that's it. Our lieutenant got killed, or he bounced right by his neck, one of them.
So you were running for your life?
Yeah, I got a little panicky, and I ran through the minefield. He was right behind me. He said that my speed, the velocity of my running up the hill, almost sucked him up with it. And then we had to tiptoe back through, prodding our way back again. Well, that was terrible.
You still had to finish clearing it for the infantry. So when you're probing it, you're just trying to hear the.
You're trying to hit the mine.
If you hear metal, you know there's a
mine. You hit
there.
metal, then you dig around it and pull it out.
Mm-hmm. And how many of those do you think you pulled up?
What, 3,000-4,000, I would say.
Wow.
I had all kinds. I got S mines, all kinds in there.
Seems like.
But you don't care when you're young.
Seems like you kind of beat the odds if you pulled up that many of them and you never set one off that killed you.
Oh yeah.
Took a leg or an arm or.
Well, I was lucky. That one place by the Arno, they had artillery going in on us. We were pinned down in a ditch. It was about 4 feet deep, and there was some water in there. And the Germans were on either side with machine guns, and of course in the back. We could hear them talking. And we were in this deal, and then they sent their 88s. It's artillery. And one exploded right above my head and knocked me out. And I didn't know what the hell happened. Just a matter of a couple of seconds. I come to, and the guy next to me had a hole in his head like that, when a shrapnel went right through his helmet into his head. So, see, those are all lucky. The platoon I was in, they called me lucky. Because many wanted to go where I would, because I was always out of trouble. I don't know why.
Sounds like there are lots of times it could have been you.
Well, that's true.
Tell me about the Poe or the Arno, or.
No, this was. Let me think now.
Sure.
I got it in there. I don't even remember the town and the river. It's.
Here, I'll check real quick. Yeah, it'll refresh your memory.
This is where the bridge is. It's the town of Camposanto. I couldn't think of the damn stuff. I talk about it every day, and I still, when you ask me, I forget.
So what happened there? You guys were going to be stuck unless.
What happened was this company commander. He's still alive. He's in Virginia. And we went on reconnaissance to see about what we need to get. If there are any bridges on there, or any materials we could use if we had to go across. And the 85th was almost stymied over there. They couldn't move, the whole division.
Right.
And the 88th was right next to them. And we stopped and we saw the reconnaissance group of from the 85th Reconnaissance Company. There was a platoon, I don't know how many were there, and they're all pinned down in the field. And this captain stopped the Jeep. I got my rifle out and said, what the hell? The guy said, get down, get down. So I got down, and it just happened that before that, a few hours before that, I had some Italian wine. I drank that.
Listen, yeah.
And the guys were laying over there, and I said, what the hell is coming? We can't leave it like this. So I jumped up and started zigzagging and running toward the barn over there and toward the river. I didn't know that the bridge was right there. I ran to that barn. I swung open the doors, and 5 Germans threw their hands up. I got 5 prisoners out of it. And then all the other guys come and started going toward the bridge, and then the Germans threw some artillery fire through. And there was a lieutenant. His name is Buck. He was there, and I said, cover me. And I saw that the embankment, and I said, there's got to be a water, see where the bridge is. We got up there, and the bridge was right in front of us. So I told him, I said, cover me, and I'll go across. You know, we always carried cutters with us, little pliers.
Right.
I saw the wires hanging from the abutment of the bridge.
And what did that tell you?
That means that they were electronically set up to explode. All they had to do was hit it and it would go up.
So they were waiting for you to try to cross the bridge.
Yeah, and then one German was taking sight on me. He was at the top of the bridge, and this guy fired him, and the guy fell down. I got scared. I was swimming toward the damn other side. That's where the explosives were. I pulled out my pliers, started cutting. There was 6 different wires. I must have cut 17 of them because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss one. I kept cutting the hell out of them. And then I swam back, and that was it. And I didn't hear anything about that till after the war was over. They came and gave me the Silver Star.
Somebody was paying attention.
Yeah.
Saw that you did that.
But the people that put me in for that, there must have been 3 or 4 people got a Silver Star out of that. Because in the military, at that time, most of the guys say, "You put me in for a Bronze Star, I'll put you in." And they do that. And
how far of a swim was that?
Oh, about I'd say 200 feet.
And they were shooting at you?
Yeah.
Did you see some bullets splashing around you, or hear them whizzing? Or?
That's why my hair were getting white. You don't know what you get into, but you don't think of me. You say the main thing is to get away, get out of it. I figured once I got under the bridge, I was safe.
So were you swimming on the surface or underwater?
Both.
Yeah.
I was doing both. I could swim good. I was a good swimmer.
Did you swim in Lake Erie or what?
I swam all over Rocky River, Lake Erie, wherever they had places, we swam. Yeah, that was quite an experience.
So if you hadn't cut those wires,
they would have blown up the bridge. And after that bridge was solidified, they came and naturally a couple of tanks went over it and they recovered and controlled the bridge. And that's the reason they gave the Silver Star. The 2 divisions crossed over that bridge. That was the only one left on the river.
The 88th went over that too?
Pardon?
The 88th crossed over that bridge too?
They were firing, but they had to go back because we had spotter planes coming up and everything going. They got out because there was no way the Germans could hold that.
So this was almost the end of the war when that happened?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I did a story with a guy who was in the 88th.
No kidding.
Found out that they were still fighting after the war was over. After the Germans had surrendered, they were still fighting some Germans. And in fact, several of his friends were killed after the Germans had already surrendered because they didn't know.
Yeah.
And it was pretty close to what you're talking about.
The 442nd, that Nishi battalion was by us also, and they were stuck in the same situation, I think, by Leghorn, Italy. They call it Livorno.
Do you remember when you heard that the Germans had surrendered?
I think we were by a town called Belluno. That's going toward the Alps. And that town is where they make perfume.
Aha.
And that's where we heard about it. And we saw a giant German warehouse. It was Italian, but German stuff was in it. Thousands of barrels of rum were in, cognac, not rum. Cognac were in there. And somewhere I got a picture of a 2.5 trucks with rolling kegs of cognac into the trucks. So the war was finished. Yeah. So we were just waiting over there. And the guys were drinking and getting drunk, and that captain said, "No more drinking like that." You see, we had those canteen cups, those aluminum ones, they hold 1 quart. Yeah. He said each one gets a half of a canteen cup. That's a half a quart. Guys were drunker than hell all over the place.
Oh, I bet.
But then when we took Florence on the Arno, and before we got that by Chertaldo, 25 clicks away, kilometers south, they had a place there was a villa. And another friend of mine, Fred Caleri from Connecticut, his parents were Italian. He knew the language real good. We stopped by this house, this villa, and the owner welcomed us in, but he said he would give us some wine, but he said the Germans put mines all over his area. That was part of the mined area. So him and we cleaned the whole thing out from the S-mines. We took them out, and he was so happy. And they had a rabbit, and he made some stew and stuff, and then with that, what they call polenta, that's, we had that and some cheese. And his name was Berghini. And after a while, we found out from him that Berghini was the Chianti family. Chianti Berghini, the winemakers. And he had bottles of wine outside. They were in 5-gallon bottles, dark. I guess they keep them dark so the wine stays right. And they were buried in the ground. And I'm telling you, we drank that wine. It was almost like syrup.
Wow.
It was a good wine.
And had a fun life.
But when we hit that town, the first part, before we got by this villa, our plane strafed the town because the Germans were pulling out. And they hit these towers. They were about 5 stories high. Large, what the hell do you call them? They were filled up with wine anyway.
Oh, okay.
And they were round, cylindrical, and I think there were 2 or 3 of them there. They strafed them, and the wine was coming out where the bullets hit it. And we were over there with 5-gallon cans, dumping our water out and filling the cans up with wine.
The streets were running with wine.
Boy, that was, really.
And so then the war was over. You came home and then you signed back up, or how did that work?
Yeah, I got. Yeah, well. Oh,
Tell me about Monte Cassino.
Yes, she was telling about her brother.
Yeah.
Her uncle, rather. Her uncle Theo. Yeah, he was by San Pietro in that area, right before Casino. He was in First Parachute Division, German First Parachute Division, and he was what the hell do you call it now? Communications. He was running the signals through. He was about 150 yards away from me.
Wow.
Shooting at
And I never knew him until I met her, and he told exactly where he was.
Holy cow.
He's a nice fellow, too. Played the accordion. Real nice person. That was her uncle.
Do you want to come sit next to him and talk a little bit too?
Pardon?
Come here,
Would you like
Mosey.
to come sit next?
He was the first.